What Ferrari didn't say on the radio tells the real story. Lap 51 of the Austrian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, calm and in control, makes a simple request. Let me stay out. His tyres were holding on. He was managing the car. He was in the zone.
My tyres are okay. Can I extend? How many more laps left?
And box 20 laps.
I don't want to stop. 20 laps left.
But Ferrari had already made up their mind. Seconds later, without a real conversation, came the cold, clinical instruction: box now. This wasn't a strategy call, it was a signal, a silent, calculated shift in priorities, a move disguised as routine, but it was anything but that. Hamilton, ever the professional, complied, but deep down he knew what had just happened. Behind him, Charles Leclerc had already pitted and was gaining ground. When Hamilton rejoined, the gap was too wide to close. The podium, his first in Ferrari red, slipped through his fingers. He had done everything right, managed brake temperatures, kept the car balanced, held off Russell, extended the life of tyres others had written off, but none of that mattered, because his own team made a choice to sacrifice his race for someone else's gain. This wasn't misjudgment, it wasn't a misstep, it was a message. And the silence on the radio, that said everything. It wasn't just a pit call, it was a declaration. At lap 51 in Austria, Ferrari didn't merely tell Lewis Hamilton to box. They made a decision soaked in symbolism. Leclerc first, Hamilton second. Lewis had said it clearly, I don't need to pit. After the race, he said even less. Just enough to hear the frustration under the calm. Tight-lipped. No eye contact, because his words weren't feedback, they were accusation. This wasn't just a strategy call gone wrong, it was the voice behind the message that made it sting. Riccardo Adami, not Hamilton's choice, not his engineer, not even his ally, but the man assigned to manage him. A man with history in Maranello, once the voice guiding Sebastian Vettel, now repurposed for Lewis, not to support, but to contain. Their radio exchanges sound mechanical, short, cold. Adami gives instructions, Lewis follows. There's no back and forth, no trust, just a hierarchy playing itself out in real time. And in Austria, that structure cracked wide open. The call to pit wasn't just poorly timed, it was intentional. Insiders murmur that Adami remains rooted in the old Ferrari order, where tradition outweighs performance, where loyalty is tied to Leclerc, and seniority means control. Hamilton senses it. That's why when he questions a decision, he's not just talking tyres, he's questioning allegiance. He's tried to adjust. For the first time this season, Lewis shifted closer to Leclerc's car setup. Same floor, similar aero package, an attempt to close the gap. But what worked for Charles didn't work for him. Leclerc dances with oversteer, slides the car on edge, playing with risk, yet preserving grip. Hamilton, that setup punished him. It chewed through the tyres, and he knew it. This is his playground, Lewis said about Leclerc post-race. But it wasn't admiration, it was surrender. He was driving a car tuned for someone else. A setup not neutral but biased, crafted around Leclerc's preferences, disguised behind technicalities, ride height, balance, diff settings, all hiding the real truth. The SF25 was built in Leclerc's image, and Hamilton, he was expected to copy, not command. Austria made it clear by lap 50 Leclerc had pitted, smooth, clean, unchallenged. He rejoined in traffic, but only briefly. Ferrari waited exactly one lap. Then came the call to Hamilton. Not a discussion, not a question, a directive. Why then? Because that one lap delay handed Leclerc the track position. Clear air, a 3-second buffer, it looked like a strategy play, but in reality it was orchestration. Lewis had earned the right to choose when to stop. He had the lead on track. Yet once again, the order came from a voice, not from numbers. Why now? Hamilton asked on the radio, his tone tight, disbelief heavy. There was no reply, only silence. That kind of silence that screams betrayal. By the time he rejoined, the damage was done. Leclerc was up in third, Hamilton was locked in fourth. Ferrari framed it as strategy. But Hamilton felt the subtext loud and clear. You're not here to lead, you're here to support. After the race, Lewis offered the public explanation. We had brake issues. But listen to how he said it. Flat. Detached. Like someone forced to recite a line he didn't write. Because the brakes weren't the real problem. Yes, he was managing from lap 10. Lift and coast. Braking early, playing it safe. But why only him? Same car, same floor, same balance. Leclerc reported nothing. No overheating, no fade, just pace. So were Hamilton's brake issues mechanical, or were they metaphorical? A method of limiting him, slowing him down, ensuring he couldn't challenge the team's chosen one. Every time Hamilton looks like climbing, something gets in the way. Tyre temperatures, brake wear, sudden degradation. It's not sabotage, it's structure. A system that only lets him get so far. Austria wasn't an outlier. It was the clearest example yet. A line drawn in red, a message written in silence. This is how far you're allowed to go. From turn 1 to turn 6. Even George Russell attacked like he knew it. Like he'd been waiting to prove a point, because in Austria, everyone seemed to understand. Hamilton was boxed in, not just by strategy, but by design. Lewis Hamilton didn't flinch. Out wide, elbows out on the edge of grip and instinct. It was a masterclass in defense, raw and poetic, one of the finest moments of the season. And yet, to Ferrari, it meant nothing. Because what that duel truly revealed wasn't just Hamilton's brilliance under pressure, it revealed the one thing Ferrari fears most: Lewis without a leash. George Russell, no longer his teammate, became a reflection of the man Hamilton used to be: trusted, respected, free. Now every move Lewis makes is scrutinized, every battle an act of insubordination. He didn't need to beat George. He needed to show the world and himself that he still could. And he did. But Ferrari's reaction? Not applause, not acknowledgement, just silence. A silence so loud it swallowed the moment whole, as if ignoring the fight would erase it. It won't. Russell came to race. Hamilton used that fight as a statement. I'm still here, I'm still dangerous. And now, for the first time in his iconic career, he'll arrive at Silverstone not in silver but draped in Ferrari red. It changes everything. This isn't just another Grand Prix, this is a reckoning. This is home, where Union Jacks flood the hills, where every heartbeat in the crowd syncs with his throttle, where Lewis Hamilton becomes more than a driver. He becomes a movement. But this time, the fight is within. Leclerc has already made his intentions known. I want to win there. And the team, they'll fall in line, just like always. Another strategy scripted, another dummy call coming. Hamilton knows the playbook. So what happens when car number 16 leads and the pit wall says, hold position? Does he yield, or does he break free? Austria's betrayal will follow him to Silverstone. And the grandstands won't just be watching for pace, they'll be watching for defiance. This isn't about points anymore. It's about control. It's about who leads this army in red. Every pause on the radio, every unanswered question carries more than confusion. It's punishment, a reminder, you're not in charge. But Hamilton has cracked codes his whole life. From the tight-lipped politics at McLaren to the sterile tones at Mercedes, he learned to speak in silences. He learned when silence is a command and when it's a warning. Austria made one thing clear: he no longer trusts the voice in his ear. Watch closely now. His driving is becoming sharper, his tone more distant. He's no longer asking, he's deciding. And at Silverstone, with a nation behind him and ghosts in his mirrors, he might do what Ferrari dreads most: break ranks. Not with drama, with precision, not for headlines, for history. He'll demand a setup tailored to him, not Leclerc. He'll cut through strategy with instinct. And if the pit wall tries to hold him back, he'll pass anyway. This isn't rebellion. This is legacy. If Ferrari won't raise him, he'll burn the ladder and climb anyway. The truth won't be shown on the timing screens, but it's here, buried in every ignored radio, every denied request. If you believe Ferrari's silence hides more than tactics, stay tuned. The next betrayal is already loading.